One of my interests in the world is Iran and President Ahmadinejad. I think I think that Iran does have a difficult relationship with America, but I think that the interesting thing about Iran is that it's a theocracy. It has religious law and religious government, so it's a theocracy in the world, and that's very unusual in the world because we don't have theocracies in the world. But I think that we don't have many theocracies in world history, and Iran seems to follow the example of Spain, Catholic Spain, with the Spanish Inquisition. So I think that Iran is something like Catholic Spain around about 1600 when we had the Spanish Inquisition. So it seems to be some kind of theocracy, some kind of a religious government, and I think that to have this in a modern world, in a modern age that's ruled by the rights of law, freedom and liberties is kind of concerning, because we do have it's a theocracy that kind of that seems to oppose those accepted rights and liberties. So I think that Iran is unusual in that respect. I think most countries, including China, respect rights and liberties, but I think that the fact that we have Iran as a theocracy in the world with a religious government and perhaps religious institutions and things goes against the makeup of the world, and that could be some kind of issue in the world. But I think that the thing with Iran is President Ahmadinejad, who's been in power in Iran for over 15 to 20 years. So he's been in power in Iran for 15 to 20 years. He's kind of, I think he's pretty much the leadership behind Iran, along with the supreme, the supreme leader Khamenei. But I think that much of Iran in the world is down to President Ahmadinejad. I think the way Iran behaves in the world, the way it conducts itself, the way it occupies its military or discusses its economy or isolates itself is down to President Ahmadinejad and his politics in Iran. And I think his discussions and relations with America and its presidents. So I think President Ahmadinejad is one of the most powerful and influential presidents in Iran. That's kind of built Iran as we see it today. But the most concerning thing about President Ahmadinejad was his voice around the nuclear program of Iran. He spent a good 10 years developing the nuclear program of Iran, and that's a very long time to develop a nuclear program for Iran. He did it with centrifuges and facilities that seem unusual and maybe ill-conceived to develop a nuclear program. I think most nuclear programs involve nuclear power plants and uranium enrichment. I think that's how most countries develop nuclear weapons and nuclear programs. And I think that the very strange thing about President Ahmadinejad was his kind of voice concerning the nuclear program of Iran in the world, and how he talked to the world about the nuclear program. I think that it was very much positioned as a right for Iran, but I believe personally that there was no nuclear weapons program for Iran. And I think that this is I think this could be slightly concerning, because Iran has kind of isolated itself from the world and positioned itself from the world, especially with its economy, on the focal point and basis of its nuclear program. And I think that most developing countries, all they have to do is to discuss a nuclear weapons program with North Korea, and I think that's how nuclear weapons programs are developed throughout the world. But I think President Ahmadinajad chose to dismiss that and ignore that option, and conducted a very unusual and disturbing option of developing a very long nuclear weapons program that lasted maybe 10 to 20 years. And this has placed Iran in a very awkward position in the world. And I think that's why we have a contagious issue with Iran in the Middle East and around the world, perhaps due to this issue with the nuclear weapons program and the fact that it's a theocracy as well. So I think that President Ahmadinejad could be some kind of an American president in Iran, and he could have a sinister. He could have his own interest in a nuclear program. Thank you very much.